Hey guys, and welcome back. So you might be surprised, but even despite the fact that the Zabbix 7.4 is not yet officially released as a stable version, you can already install it and test out some new features that might be already available in the current release that you will be able to do. And well, that's exactly something I'm going to show to you today, how you can install a Zabbix 7.4 with a Postgres. And as usual, recently we're going to use the tutorial, the blog post from the Max, who is also a Zabbix partner. And basically, like, I usually do installations with a MySQL. I think it's a bit easier, but they have a tutorial with a Postgres, which is a bit more complicated. So hopefully it's gonna help someone out. And basically, I will throw the link in the description so you can find this. And the first step that we need to do is to choose what kind of operating system are we going to use for our Zabbix installation. Either we go with Alma, CentOS, RHEL, Rocky, version 9, so all RHEL-like distributions, right? Or with a Debian. I personally am more a fan of RHEL systems since many years, and what I have here is Alma Linux. It's Alma Linux 9, so I'm using this tutorial. If you have a Debian, just click here and the commands will change for you. We go with Alma Linux. So before we start, for the purpose of this example, we first switch SL Linux to the permissive mode. And if you don't know what SL Linux is, it's Security Enhanced Linux, and happens to be that if you want to learn more about it, I should have a video posted in this same exact YouTube channel something around a week ago. So go ahead, click on the channel, find a video about SL Linux. It's very educational, let's call it like that. So before we proceed with installation of the Zabbix, obviously we also need to have a database, as Zabbix does require SQL database as for now, as a mandatory thing for the backend, where all the configuration data and also the history data will be stored. Since we are doing this with the Postgres, then we're going to be installing the Postgres. And the good thing with all of these tutorials is that you can basically just copy paste all of the commands. So first of all, what we're doing, we're adding the official PostgreSQL repository. That's from where we're going to get the Postgres itself, and this can take a couple of seconds or something like that. So when the repository is installed, we can go back to our wiki page, and the next is to the module to disable the PostgreSQL. I believe this what is happening here, like we already have in some kind of official repository of Alma Linux, we also have some PostgreSQL versions available, and I suppose not the newest ones, so I think we're disabling those and just relying on the repository that we just added, which makes us to do this dnf install PostgreSQL version 17-server, and we can add at the end -yes just to auto confirm everything that's going to be prompted. Click enter and grab some coffee, tea, or whatever, as again, this is going to take some time. So right now the PostgreSQL is installed, and what we will do, we will initialize the database and configure it to start automatically. Like initDB is always required when you're doing the PostgreSQL installation. Just copy paste the command, click enter, and wait for a couple of seconds. So initializing database is okay. Let's go back to the guide, and then we are enabling and also automatically starting our PostgreSQL database with this command. So copy paste, systemctl enable, and -- now. So basically it's going to be started right now, and the next time if you reboot your system, the PostgreSQL also going to be started out of the box. Next, when we have a database ready, we also need to have like the Zabbix itself. I usually ignore this. So the only thing that we need to do is add the repository, and you can either do it from here, or let's say if you're running on some other distributions, you can go directly to the zabbix.com webpage, click on the green Get Zabbix, go to the packages, and here 7.4 pre-release, yeah, call it like that. So Alma Linux 9 server Frontend agent. Just pay attention that right now we're doing the Postgres and Apache, but I'm just to make sure that all the tutorial works, I'm going to copy from the tutorial itself. So copy paste installation of the repository, paste it here, click enter. This again should not take long. There we go, it's done. And DNF clean all, just to make sure that we'll really be able to access the packages of newly installed repository. This again is going to take a couple of seconds. Once the DNF clean all command is finished, we can proceed to the installation. And we will install all necessary Zabbix components. In this case, we will use Zabbix Agent 2 as the primary monitoring agent, which we recommend because it offers significantly more functionality. So there's also an option of the Zabbix Agent 1, and I would say that Agent 1 is like more stable. Agent 1 is written in C, Agent 2 is written in Go, and more stable. It doesn't mean that Agent 2 is like unreliable or something like that, but you decide. Like at the same time, you can have both agents installed, up and running, listening on the different ports. So what we're installing here is the Zabbix server package, which is going to be dependent on a PostgreSQL database. If you would have MySQL, you would have MySQL here in the end. And then the same story with the Zabbix web. Then we also have the configuration of our web engine SQL scripts, where we'll have all the schema and the default data of our database that we'll have to import in our Postgres database, Zabbix Agent 2, and Zabbix Web Service, which is going to be used for the shuttle reporting that you can configure in the Zabbix. So copy paste all of this command, make sure that nothing is happening here in the background. Copy paste, click enter. Again, make a couple of seconds or minutes break until everything is downloaded and installed. Okay, so there were a couple of prompts where I had to just confirm that yes, I want to install, and yes, I want to deploy everything that we wrote. So it's just yes, yes. And at the end, we have complete all of the installed packages, good to go to proceed with the next steps. And the next step is about initializing the database. And to do that, we go to cd/tmp. So we're right now moved to the TMP directory, and we're using sudo -u Postgres. So using the Postgres user, we're creating a new user and prompting a password, and the username is going to be Zabbix. So type this and enter the password for the new role. I'm going to type also Zabbix and Zabbix again. So we kind of created a user Zabbix with the same password, which is also Zabbix. At this point, we can import a default schema and data. You will again be prompted to enter the password. Here, use the password from the previous step. So the one which you entered yourself after this command. And there we go. We're creating the database. Database is also going to be called Zabbix. Click enter. This is a fast task. And the next one, so here we're actually importing the schema. Schema comes from the package called Zabbix SQL scripts, which we downloaded together with the Zabbix server and all the other stuff. And it basically puts this file, the server.sqljz, in the path of user share Zabbix SQL scripts, PostgreSQL. If you would have MySQL, it would be MySQL, obviously. And we're piping it to the Postgres Zabbix database using the Zabbix user. And after enter, it's going to prompt for the password. Actually, it didn't. So yeah, that's surprising. I'm not sure why. But good thing is that everything is happening, and we'll have to wait for a second to make sure that all of the data is imported in the database. Data is done, and we can proceed with the firewall configuration. And I actually don't have a firewall on this virtual machine. That's just default settings when you get it from the Hetzner. But if you would have a firewall, if you do, then firewall CMD permanent ad service HTTP, because you will need to access Zabbix webpage for graphic user interface, right? And firewall add port 10051 TCP, which is the default port of the Zabbix server, and then just reload the firewall for all of the rules to apply. If you want to install the TimescaleDB and if you set up the Postgres, then probably you do want to do that. There's also some different videos on my channel and different guides that you can find in Initmax wiki, but basically here is again copy paste commands that we can do. So make sure that we're out of this, copy paste this. So we basically created a new file in the etc yum repos d. We kind of added a timescale database repository. And next thing that we're going to be doing is installing the TimescaleDB itself. So DNF install TimescaleDB, PostgreSQL 17, and TimescaleDB to loader PostgreSQL 17. So copy paste this, move here, copy paste, click enter, gonna take some time, and we can basically run the TimescaleDB tune utility, passing a higher maximum number of connections, max as a max cons parameter. And for Zabbix, like if you're just starting out and just installing out of the box, 125 is going to be fully enough. Further on for the production, basically Zabbix uses one connection for every process that it has. So if you have like 100 pollers, 100 trappers, something else, then you might want to increase this for up to 1,000. So just make sure that if you check the log file of the Zabbix server and you notice that there's like some error message about the connection limit reached or something like that, that it might be the parameter that you need to adjust. And this utility adjusts PostgreSQL default settings to optimize the performance. So it's kind of like a default tuning of your database. If you're running MySQL, you need to do that manually, edit the my.cnf and add a couple of parameters, which are kind of like optional from one way, because the Zabbix will run even on a default settings. But if you really want to utilize, let's say, the hardware specs that you have up till max, then it's better to tune them accordingly. So this should be click yes. That's our previous command where we're just installing the TimescaleDB. So click yes again. And this is complete. And right now we can start this tuning. So TimescaleDB tune, copy, paste, cd, and using PostgreSQL.conf add this path, which is a default one. So it's correct for us. Click yes. And shared preload libraries, TimescaleDB. I think it's also yes, but we can double check here. This one. So yes. Yep. Click yes. And tune memory, parallelism vol, and other settings. Yeah, sure, we can do that. Here are the recommended parameters, and we can just confirm that yes, let's go with that. Max worker process, all fine. Is this okay? Yes. So essentially we're just yes, all through this stuff, and we're good to go. Next things, what we can do is we can start our database. Restart. It's already started right now, but we're gonna restart it. Go here, copy paste, systemctl restart PostgreSQL 17.service. That's done. All that remains is to create and activate Timescale database itself. So note, during the development, the path changed from the original user share Zabbix SQL scripts Postgres TimescaleDB schema SQL to the new user share Zabbix SQL scripts PostgreSQL TimescaleDB schema.sql. I'm user share Zabbix SQL scripts. User share Zabbix SQL script. Isn't this the same? No. Okay, so there's something changed. We need to run these two commands. Echo, create extension if not exist, TimescaleDB cascade, using piping into the sudo Postgres with a Zabbix database, right? So copy paste, create extension is done, and then adding the schema in, again, the same pipe into the Postgres. So copy paste this, click enter. Couple of warnings, but essentially notice TimescaleDB is configured successfully. So that's that. Then basically the last part we have left is the configuration of Zabbix itself. To do that, we need to edit the configuration file at zabbix_server.conf. And here, what do we need to change? First of all, we of course need to change the DB password, and the password I myself set to DB password Zabbix. And what else it is suggesting us to do? Start report writers. That's kind of for the case. Let me find it. Start report writers. Start report writers. That's for the case when you want to configure scheduled reports, and that's also part of the tutorial. So start report writers equals 1, and web service URL. Let's find it here. Web service URL. This one, web service URL equals HTTP localhost And this 10053 is the default port of, remember, we also installed the package Zabbix web service, I think, yeah, and that basically points to that. So after filling these three parameters as DB password, start report writers, and web service URL, we can save and quit. That's basically the only thing that we need to do in our Zabbix server configuration file. In the next step, we'll configure all language packs for the Zabbix frontend. As for me, the default... okay, we can do that. But I usually don't. I don't know. If you're running just English, it's not an issue. But if you want to set some different languages, then perhaps it is required. So not going to harm to just copy paste the command, and there's no additional configuration required. So that's a fairly fast stuff to do. And as you can see, it's already completed. Next, so this was done. Finally, we restart all the related services and configure them to start automatically. So copy paste all this. So we're restarting. Could not open file. Something is missing. Yeah, I'm actually not sure, but we'll see if everything works. SSD, KCM, that's nothing Zabbix related. Let's check if it's going to work further on. That was done. Then to verify that the Zabbix server has started correctly, we can check the log file. And the log file is located in the var log Zabbix underscore server.log. And we have unsupported database. TimescaleDB version is newer than this one. And we need to do one thing. Timescale is too new. Recommended version is up. Timescale Community Edition. So basically what we need to do is again go to the Zabbix server configuration file at zabbix server.conf and find allow unsupported DB versions. Allow unsupported DB versions and change this to 1. Why it happens, so basically every time the new Zabbix version is released, it also has kind of soft limits within itself about which database versions are supported. And my guess right now is that there's like the bottom limit, so older ones are not supported, and also the top limit. And my guess is that there was some new release of the timescale database, which is newer than the version of the Zabbix that we just downloaded previously new. So it kind of treats it as unsupported. And that's why how you can avoid it is to add this parameter, allow unsupported DB version, which basically just ignores it. And everything will work. Don't worry, all the functionality, monitoring, whatever is supported. It's kind of just, okay, I do acknowledge that Zabbix doesn't know about this version of the TimescaleDB, and I'm going to be fine. So to apply that, systemctl restart Zabbix-server, and we will check the log file again. And there we go. We can see that everything is actually started. Thread started, some item became not supported, forced reloading of SNMP cache, all good. Zabbix is working. We verified that. If you see a message in the log file stating that TimescaleDB version is too new, it's not a major issue. As I said, go to the, it basically already written in the tutorial itself. So allow unsupported DB version and systemctl restart Zabbix server. To access the frontend, you just go to your IP address, and my IP address is, let me check it here. Copy paste this, go to your browser and open the address with /Zabbix. It's gonna open the first time configuration wizard for the Zabbix 7.4. Next step, all the parameters are fine. Database type is Postgres, database host, localhost, port default, name Zabbix, database schema, leave it as it is, store credentials in plain text, and a password. No, choose my own password for the database is Zabbix, at least for me when I created it. And TLS encryption, I don't really want it, but okay, whatever. Change your password, okay. Zabbix server name. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of these type of tutorials, whatever. Choose your default time zone, default theme, blue or dark or high contrast. Next step, just pre-installation summary. Next step, congratulations, you have successfully installed the Zabbix frontend. finish, and the default login is admin with a capital A, and default password is lowercase Zabbix with lowercase z as well. And we're in system, everything works. There's just a couple of things left here. We went through all of this, and yeah, reporting configuration. So to ensure fully functional reporting with all its enhancements, we first need to install the Google Chrome, and I already have a video about web reporting configuration. It's also, I think, from the initmax wiki, but so I'm not going to do that in this video because this is just about installing the Zabbix. But if this is something you're also interested, just keep following the post. There's basically just downloading the Google Chrome, doing the local install for it, and then you need to go administration general other, which is here, administration general other, and you need to change this parameter frontend URL, which is exactly something which you yourself can access, right? And finishing touches, verify that the Zabbix server and database server are running correctly and have the correct version. We can see ourselves that all is good. Here, everything is fine. We already are receiving some new values per second. Zabbix server is running. Yes, we checked the log file of the Zabbix server. Everything is good. Also check if you encounter the following error when starting the server or proxy on the system. The user limit of 1024 file descriptors is insufficient. There is a wiki page how you can fix it, and again, I have a video about how you can fix it, so just search here in the YouTube. Same actually applies for the support for a browser item and custom rebranding. Have a videos for all of that stuff, so go check it out, and hopefully this was helpful. I hope that you managed to install your Zabbix server, and smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. See you guys later. Goodbye.